Hello and welcome, everyone. I am Wendy Blum-Weiss, and this is part of our new podcast series, Redefine Yourself During Times of Uncertainty. And so many of us are working out of our homes these days, and I'm super excited about our topic today, which are 3 tips to improve your public speaking. And I have a great guest for us today. Welcome, Wally. Wally Waiters is in the house. Hey, Wally.
Hey, what's up, Wendy? How you doing?
Great to have you here. So I want to share a little bit about you. We've got you. You're actually in your office today. We can see
Yes.
the brand star in the background. But Wally is the vice president of, and there I'm going to look at this, of local programming for Brand Star. And Brand Star is a lifetime TV production, full house production studio that's located in South Florida. And Wally is also a consultant. He's a public speaker, international speaker, and consultant, and so much more. So we're so happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me here. This is awesome.
So many of us, whether we're Zooming to talk to our family, or whether we're Zooming for meetings online, or whether we're taking our business where normally we saw our clients one-on-one, and now we're meeting with them online. And sometimes we've been meeting with them one-on-one, and now we're actually speaking to groups of people. Maybe I've never done that before. So I know I'm getting a lot of questions on public speaking.
Yes.
So today, I know you've agreed to share 3 tips on improving your public speaking.
Right.
So I want to ask you, where do you even begin? What is the very first step that you think about?
Well, before I get there, I just want to make an observation, like Wendy said. I've noticed friends of mine who are in ministry, actually, who are pastors of churches. Now, these guys speak in front of a live audience for years, but you put them on social media, it look like a couple of stiffs, like they don't know what they're doing. So it can go both ways, whether you're in front of a group or used to being in front of a huge group, now you're on social media. It's a game changer. So one of the first tips that I want to bring up to you right now is know your material. So many times people have notes, and I've been to speaker trainings and different types of things like that. And I've seen speakers who have 5 pages of notes, and if they lose those notes or lose their spot, they are cooked. So never try to memorize your speech, because if you get that piece of paper, something happens and you're like, look like a deer in the headlights. What I tell people, just like we have 3 points, focus on 3 points in your outline and just fill in the information. So you have to know it. Not being perfect, but knowing enough information that you could be general, that even if you slip up, you can remember the other 2 points. Some people may write them on their hand and just have point 1, 2, 3 on a sheet of paper. That's a lot better than reading a bunch of notes on a paper, word for word.
Well, and one of the things that I have learned to do over time, and is it's okay to actually then make it part of what you're doing, like show like, okay, when I was introducing you, and I wanted to make sure that I got your title right.
Right.
And that is okay to pull it in as part of the
Of course.
process. How do you feel about that?
I think that's good too, because I do have a news background. I used to read teleprompters. But if you had a prompter operator that's moving too fast, they would have to back it up. So I've learned over the last 20, 25 years that you have to be able to be quick on your feet. And like you did, you went to the piece of paper, just do that. But what happened after that? You put it back down and you were naturally just flowing again, not thinking about what you're saying. And this is the first time that we've done this, the first time on the show. And you just wrote this down about 3 or 4 minutes ago. So I didn't expect you to memorize it. So I think it's okay to integrate it in there. But if you're completely dependent on your notes and your paper, when I'm saying notes, you know what I mean by this, fully typed out speech. I know people, unless they have the words typed out fully, every single word, they can't do it. And to me, it comes in as not being authentic. It comes in like you're reading a script, which again is okay for certain things if you're recording or something. But if you're in front of a live audience, you just want to know enough, not know too much. Because think about this, we talked about timing. I'm very good at timing with my background in television and radio, and I know that 3 questions will more than take enough time to cover this. So think about, you think it's always going to be more than you think, for sure.
Yeah, you're so right about the notes, because then you're like up here in your head and you're thinking about it versus dropping in your heart. and being of service or sharing, because like we're doing this because if one person
Right.
is listening and they leave with one pearl, one insight, one thing that makes a difference for them in their life, then that's why we do it. I love the YouTube platform because it gives you
Right.
an opportunity to share what's in your heart, to share your gifts, and to be perfectly imperfect, which is something that I talk about all the time, but just be yourself, like be all of it
Yes.
and incorporate
Yes.
your mess into your message. It's actually part of the word, incorporate your mess into your message. Yeah. So that's what you said. Be authentic because people
Yes.
can actually
Absolutely.
feel you. They totally can feel
Yes.
you.
I can
So
tell
do
you
you have,
personally, I can tell you personally, my own experience. I remember I was doing a lot of live streams over the past few years, like one a day. And somebody, to my brother-in-law, said, Wally, why don't you talk to me why don't you talk to the audience like you're talking to me right now? And I had been out of it for a while and I started doing, I had to think about what he meant. He said, in other words, just be you, your expressions, the way you act like you're just talking to a person. I can tell you, business wise, over the past month, this has helped me. I'm connecting more with my clients and participants now more than ever before because I'm just keeping it real. If I'm sitting on my couch, I thought, hey, I'm just chilling on my couch here, just had a cup of coffee, and because people can identify with the current circumstance. I don't have to say, oh my gosh, coronavirus has me on lockdown. I'm just saying words and connecting with people
yeah.
personally about things that are going on. Yes.
Yeah. So like as if somebody's like literally sitting in the chairs,
Yes.
literally having a conversation with you right there. So that's what we're doing here.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think if we remember that, that makes such a difference because how would you talk to your friends if they were actually sitting in the chair across from you? So is that we'll take that as tip number two, to be
Or you could,
authentic and
yes. And here's one. I was going to keep. You can keep that number two. So I might have four tips. I'll just roll them all in together.
oh
But
great.
one of the other ones you and I discussed earlier: speak slowly. Because here's the thing: even if I think that I'm speaking too slowly, it comes across as normal to the listener. And this is something I learned because normally I speak like this and I can be pretty fast. But even if you speak, and we talked about this earlier, you have to practice it. I have a sign on my desk that speaks slowly because I think, and people are like, what did you say? Words run together when you speak too fast because your mind is processing it at a slow speed. And when you speak slowly, it sounds like, oh my gosh, will this guy ever stop? But no, it doesn't. I open up my vowels a little bit more. I stretch out my sentences a bit more, and I slow down and make a clear, concise connection and conversation with whoever is listening.
That makes so much sense. You make a point. Like, you can and also like you can change your tone. And if you're going
Yes,
slow, like the pace, sometimes slow and then sometimes speed it up and right, just to kind of keep the audience moving with you.
exactly. Like you said, if we're being authentic, it comes across naturally. Like I like to move my hands a lot, and my tone usually fluctuates. And also, but if I'm a monotonistic speaker, you speak slow, people are going to go to sleep, man. So all you preachers out there who are talking now, get some energy in you, man. Come on. You can, it's good to feed off the energy of the congregation, but when you're by yourself sitting in a room on a microphone, what happens to the juice? Keep it coming, keep it flowing.
How do you do that? If you're at home, do you prime before you start the video camera? Like if you're singing, you warm up, like you actually warm up your vocals. Do you have any pre-video,
Yes,
pre-audience exercises to follow?
you did it again. You always do this to me when thinking, and that was my point. You just bring it up every single time. And that's what I'm talking about. Be prepared. It's almost like when I played football. When you play football, you practice for the big game. You warm up for the big game. But it's not like you could, sometimes, you can roll out of bed and just throw on a jacket, hop on a Zoom call. But my point is be prepared. And here's some things I used to do that would help you. Because even if you are speaking and there's no video, there's still certain things that go on. So what I would do is I would practice. I'd get up in the morning, I'd warm up my voice, and I would practice what I was going to say. And people think I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. Here's a funny story. I'm going to aside here. When I was 10 years old, remember those rectangular tape recorders? You can remember those with the
Oh, yes,
microphone you
I
plug in.
absolutely remember
Yeah,
them.
most
Yes.
people, my kids probably have no idea what that is. But back in the day, I would get on there, and I was probably 10 years old, and my brothers and sisters still make fun of me. I would preach like I was a preacher. I would talk like I was a news person, and just get into character. And I recorded a tape recorder, and they could mimic certain lines I was saying. This is probably 40 years ago. I'm just saying, and they can get it like it was man, it was like amazing. So what I tell you to do is get in front of a mirror, stand in front of a mirror, look at your face, look at your facial expressions, because I think sometimes you can look like a deer in the headlights, and that's going to come across when you speak. But if you get comfortable with the flow, like I said, my pre-warm up, I get up, people like, you talking to yourself again? I'm like, yes, I'm talking to myself. And I'll practice different intonations, inflections. I'll raise my voice, I lower it, because in the morning, my voice is sometimes in the gutter. It's too low. So I bring my voice from here and I bring it up to right in the center spot there. So I lift up my eyebrows and I smile, and it just comes across as authentic. So I would say definitely that is a fantastic point. Get yourself primed and ready to rock and roll. If you have to do some jumping jacks, push-ups, get your blood flowing, because you're gonna bring that energy in from that way.
Yeah, you can always feel when someone is sluggish and
Yes.
when someone is energized. And we're so attracted to someone that has a lot of life inside of them, and we gravitate to that. So that's really, really helpful. I just recently started taking singing lessons. So I'm
Oh,
taking
wow.
singing lessons, and throughout the day, I'll just practice. It's with Julia Langley, and we actually have a
Right.
video here on YouTube on how singing benefits you. It really helps with your overall emotional well-being. It brings joy into your life. So a lot of benefits, and also a benefit here as well is if you're going to do any public speaking. So it's
Yes.
it's new, but I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it.
Yes. And as you know, I'm a singer as well. And I've been singing since I was young, but it does help you to prime the pump, to get your voice ready. Because I remember I was a young guy starting off in media, and everyone wanted to sound like Walter Cronkite. So I'm like, and my
Oh
name on
yeah.
the air was Walter James. This is Walter James, and this is the news today. And I was like, to me, that wasn't natural. I look back and I laugh now because I'm so much so real and authentic. But that was what people thought. You thought you needed to sound like that, but you didn't. You have to develop your own personality. It's okay to have a model, someone to model yourself at, but be yourself, man. You talk about be authentic, use your voice, use your expressions, use your hand, because I know some people on the air, they would have a Southern drawl. That's a different thing. They would
Yeah.
practice to lose a Southern drawl while they were on the air. When they came off, immediately switched back to character. So to me, it's okay. Create a persona of yourself and just be real. That's the biggest lessons I've learned in being in this business. You got to keep it real. And like I say, sometimes that's what's up. And people are like, yeah, that's what's up. And to me, it's more like me utilizing my expression, like I'm talking to my guys, my friends, my family members, the kids, and you. But Wendy, you have a certain effect on people that's very, very calming. You just come across the light and so authentic that people would think, why don't you tell people what you do to get ready? Because I think you would get on camera first thing in the morning on the Zoom calls. You're just like ready to rock and roll. But I'm sure you didn't just roll out of bed and start.
Well,
Or
thank
maybe you
you.
do.
First off, thank you for that. I wake up early. So I love to wake up and lay in bed for a few minutes and give gratitude before even getting out of bed. So that for me, like, primes me to be connected to something bigger and greater. So that makes a big difference. I want to open my mind up and be receptive for words, ideas, and actions to flow through me so that I'm actually a vehicle and a vessel. And before I speak in front of a group, it's interesting because I've gotten comfortable in front of audiences, and large audiences
Right.
is a little bit easier for me than video, right? Because you're not getting the energy exchange. So it's taken
Exactly.
some time for me. But one of the things that I do is I close my eyes and I asked to be used
A vessel.
as a vessel, as a
Yes.
vehicle for transformation, for uplift, for whatever to grow your skill set, whether it's business or entrepreneurship. And so I want to get out of my way and know that, I really don't know, but I'm available and I'm willing. And sometimes words come out and I know that they came through me. It's my voice,
Right.
but I know that they came from somewhere bigger and greater. We'll just leave it at that. So as long as my morning practice is intact, and it is because I've developed a habit over the long haul, over a lot of years, of getting up early in the morning and making sure I drink water, make sure I stretch, get some exercise, make sure I do some
Exactly.
breathing. I think breathing is really, really important, and breathing calms your nerves like down, because I used to be a very fear-based, very anxiety, stressed out kind of
Right.
person. So it's made a real difference. And always to remember to be in your heart. Always to be in your heart.
Always. Yeah, I
Always.
have a saying that I use all the time. It's like, be real and raw, not polished and professional. There's a balance there, because at a certain point in time, if you're just yourself, that's what people like. They like the genuineness. It comes through for your
Yeah.
heart, like you said. And the other thing, it gives you a sense of humility. When you realize, I used to speak at the church a lot and teach classes, and I remember, I'll never forget this. I would always go in the bathroom stall. I guess you guys are one have been watching me for years. I would just sit down there in the stall and just get myself, humble myself, and just like you said, ask to be used as a vessel. And it really kept me in a sweet spot of being just humble, because when you're humble and you're open, you're gonna have things like you said. You're gonna speak words of knowledge and understanding to people, tell them like you do with me all the time, things that you just need to hear at that moment. And I see you as being that vessel that is very humble and open for the spirit to move through you and be that vessel and that messenger. It just happens every day with our meditation group, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. I know those that are listening and watching, like all of those same gifts, that it's inside of everyone. Sometimes we just
Exactly.
move quickly. And that's where, if you slow it down a little bit and just experiment, test everything out,
Bingo.
because everything is, you can edit
Yes.
and you can delete. So if you're talking about a digital footprint, you can actually edit and delete it. And that's something you can't do in person. You're there, that's it.
Yes.
And so that's one of the benefits really of stepping in now. And even though it's uncomfortable, well, we know that on the other side, like as you move through the discomfort, is where the growth is. It's where the profound breakthrough, it's where increasing your income, it's where bringing more value to your clients and customers, it's where the juice is. But you have to work through that which feels uncomfortable in order to get there. It's not going to be, we're not here giving you tips that you're just going to glide right through. You're going to have to
Right.
test all this out. It's like trying it on and getting comfortable in your own skin. Yeah.
Absolutely. Agree 100%.
So I
100%.
think, are we on number four?
Oh, we're probably on four. So yeah, we're getting pretty close.
4.5.
4.56 actually, to be exact. But you know what? There's so many just little. It's the small things. It's not because I've heard it said that one of the biggest fears is public speaking. Now,
Yes.
for me, it's always good. I remember like I said, every time before I spoke, when on the air or anything, I would have that moment of silent humility before I go and, like you said, let me be used. And to me, it's always good to be a little bit nervous. It really is. A
Yes.
little, a little bit nervous, because it keeps you on track and keeps you focused. Now, knowing that, because what happens if I get too full of myself? I got this. This is good. Even though I know I got this, but after years of doing it, but at the same time, when you have that little edge, okay, not like, oh my gosh, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, but I just want to make sure I do the best possible way of using my gifts and talents and abilities, you know, to make a difference in someone's life. Not like saying, oh, let me get up. I'm such a professional speaker here. Let me show you how it's done. Because at the end of the day, why am I speaking? Am I trying to change and transform my life or the
Yeah.
lives of others?
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom, sharing your insights, sharing your heart, most importantly, your heart, because you are in this because of your heart.
Yes.
And I'd love to have you come back on. I think that these tips and having this conversation is so relevant in today's time. The new normal is going to be video. It is going to be public speaking. It
Yes.
is going to be like, it's the next phase and stage of where we have to be visible. We have to be seen. And that's how we can deliver
Right.
even more to the people that we serve. So thank you so much, Wally, for being here. I want to mention that while he does have a YouTube channel here, you want to head over to his channel. You want to subscribe. You want to follow him on all his social media platforms. He is online. He does live stream. He comes on and does a chat every day. And he shares his big, beautiful smile and
Oh,
all of
thank
his
you.
wisdom with them. So thank you so much for sharing with us today.
And Wendy, thank you so much for having me here today. This has been an absolute pleasure for me. And I feel, like I said, I feel a good peace about everything in the midst of what's going on. And I feel that one thing I do feel is that there are a lot of small businesses out there that are going to need exposure, that are going to need help. Because you know how many people don't even know how to, they can basically turn on a computer. And that's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Getting on social media, Facebook, Instagram is just, oh, that's not even up in my wheelhouse. I've spoken to several people about that. So I am going to be launching a video series on 101. What the heck do I do with social media? Just being real with people. And because I mean, I've spoken to several people. We're talking about contemporaries of ours, people who are younger than us, who don't have a clue because it's one of those things we just, oh, I don't want to get around no computers. That's not my thing. I'm good at this. I'm good with my hands. I'm good at doing this or that. But you know what? Guess what, you guys? There's a new normal, like Wendy said, and it's going to involve us being engaged
Yeah.
with social distancing through social media, through messaging, changing our messaging, through using video content, which I know you've been doing this for years too, Wendy. I'm glad. I remember the first time I did a Facebook Live, I think it was maybe 3 years ago or so, but had been doing video content for years and years. But now the platform is here. This is the time. Time is now. This is the day. I want everyone to
This is
just
the time. This
this
is
is
the time. Get on
getting
board. Get
real.
on board. Yes, it's time to
We
redefine.
call it forced innovation. It's not
Yes,
by choice. You're forced to make innovation if you want to keep relevant today, for sure.
yes. And we're doing it. So
Yes,
thank you,
indeed.
Wally. We're going to have you back on again. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.
All right.